All right, this fly's called a border patrol. I came up with this pattern several years ago. I don't remember how long ago, it doesn't matter. I've had very good luck with this fly, especially later in the year. There's a group of us get together every year and we go camp up on one of our local rivers and just have a good time. It's not a real fishing competition. Oh sure, we keep track of how many fish we catch, but it's just a fun time. I used this fly that entire week and I have never caught as many fish in a week as I did that week with this fly. In fact, I wasn't real sure they were going to invite me back, but it's been a really super fly. It's tied on a large hook. This happens to be a number 1. I use an orange tying thread. I dress that entire body with the tying thread. This fly has an a gold tinsel tag. Now I'm making this tag going to look like a whole lot longer than it should be, but I do this to give it a smooth body, a smooth tag. I wrap to the rear, cover up all that orange thread, and then come back forward. Now that gives a very, very smooth tinsel tag. Oops, that gives a very loose tinsel tag when you drop it like that. I'll bet you never saw a fly tyer do that. Just like fly tyer never breaks their thread, I always tell people if a fly tyer tells me he never breaks his thread, I question his fishing stories. Hopefully I'll get that tied down this time. Okay, I'm back again. I'll grab that, tie it down, and then I'm going to use orange floss. Orange floss will be the rear part of this fly, the rear about 1/3 of the fly. Right back over that tinsel I go with my tying thread and that floss. I'm now going to tie in a piece of fine tinsel with the gold side up and bring my tying thread up about to the 1/3 point. Here comes the orange floss. Just come forward. Again, with that double wrap tinsel, this gives this floss a very smooth appearance. It is not lumpy. It has a good underbody for it. And tie it off. This fly has the ribbing on the rear 1/3 only, the rear orange tinsel, or orange floss, I mean, and I want the gold side up. 2 or 3 wraps and bind it down. Now this particular dubbing that I'm going to use, it's orange. It has a little bit of a orange flashaboo in it that I've cut up in little pieces. I don't know if the camera can see the sparkle or not, but it gives it just a little bit of a sparkly appearance, and I just really like the way it looks in the water. Whenever you come up with a fly or use a fly, look at what it does in the water. Hold it beside you. Look at it. See what it does. You might be amazed at what some of your flies do. If you don't have the knot tied on there right, that fly could turn on its side. Well, what's the sense of fishing with it if it's not going to swim right? So undo it, retie your knot, and look at it again. See what it does. Okay, I'll get my dubbing tool out. Hook it there at the rear, capture it, close that thread off, and I don't know if I've got enough thread or dubbing on here or not. We will see. Spin it down and wrap away. I'm going quite fast to the front because I'm going to come back once more and then back to the front again. gives it a nice taper. Tie it off. Now the first feather I'm going to tie on, these are feathers out of it's a reddish orange feather that came from the rump of a golden pheasant. Get rid of that butt. And it kind of matches that body a little bit. I'm going to get rid of half of that feather. And again, tie it in by the tip. And believe me, it's a whole lot easier to do when you have your hackle pliers that I ran off and left home. We'll get this tied down. And 1.5 or 2 wraps if the feather is going to be long enough. This is a very webby material. I want that webbiness. It gives the fly almost a spay type appearance. By spay, I mean the type of fly, spay fly. And I'll get that tied down. I'll clip off that excess. The next one I'm going to tie on is a blue-eared pheasant. This is the closest thing that a fly tire can get for to match a heron. Heron feathers are illegal to have. You really don't want to be out there with them. Although I've never seen heron cops out there checking anything, but I wouldn't want to be caught with them. That's a federally protected bird. I'll get rid of that underside. The blue-eared pheasant is commercially raised, very legal to have, very expensive to have, but you don't use a whole lot of them, and it does work very well. Again, by the tip, 1.5 to 2 wraps. If I can find the tag to hold on to. And around with it laying back over itself. And I've purposefully made this blue-eared pheasant. The hackle fibers are longer than the golden pheasant I just tied on. I purposefully made it that way. Again, it will give that waving action in the water. It is unbelievable what this hackle will do in the water. Then what I did is I just took a widgeon feather. I'll strip the bottom half of it off. And I'm just going to lay it right on top of the whole thing. Just make kind of a little tint out of it. And again, you could use mallard, any of the marked duck. I just like the way the darkness is of this widgeon. Get it bound down. Get rid of that little tag end. And build yourself a little head. Like I say, this has been a really good fly. No one has ever seen this fly before except the guys I fished with that time. I went ahead and put it in the paper. I don't know if guys will like it or use it. Doesn't matter to me. But the fly has worked very well for me. And I didn't know what to call it. I just call it a border patrol because we live on a border area here. We fish bordering rivers all the time. But there it is, a border patrol. Just a wonderful fly.